Give it some time. We'll probably feel better in an hour or two. Hey, look, Marathon's on.
Nope, not feeling any better.
So what feels wrong, Avi?
My head hurts and my vision is going nuts.
Sounds like you have a migraine.
What's a migraine?
Well, the Baruch Show.
Mexico is a nation.
I'm so glad you asked. A migraine is a chronic neurological disorder characterized by recurrent moderate to severe headaches, often in association with a number of anatomic nervous system symptoms. Basically, it's a migraine headache. Well, people characterize a migraine as a headache, but it's actually a lot more than that. It's a genetic disorder per se. It's not as much a genetic disorder as it sounds like, but it's basically something you live with for life, and it's partially determined by genetics. It can cause headaches, and they're called migraine headaches. It also causes a few other symptoms along with it. Bummer.
That's crazy. What causes migraines?
The curious thing that you asked, there's actually no underlying cause known at this exact moment. There's multiple little things that go into it. So far, they believe it's a mix of environmental and genetics. It's been seen that two-thirds of the cases that runs in families, so they believe that that's part of it, partially genetic, but they haven't been able to trace it to one specific gene that's been faulty. So, yeah. They also believe some of it is both biological events or triggers for it, and in some cases it can also be triggered by mental things like depression, anxiety, bipolar, those kind of things.
Are you about done?
Migraines can also be induced by triggers.
Somebody to talk about.
Migraines can also be caused by stress and other psychological things, like hunger or those kind of things. There are also other things like hormonal causes, like there's a chance you're either on your period or you're pregnant, that kind of thing. There's also a dietary aspect to it, like some things that you eat can affect how you get a migraine. Also some external things, like even weather, lightning. Lightning can even give you a migraine, not the lightning alone. Of course, other things that go into the overall thing. But lightning could be considered a quote-unquote trigger.
What are the symptoms of a migraine?
Thank you.
Oh dear gosh, this is going to take a while. Okay, migraine consists of a large number of symptoms. It could just be from a basic headache to an aura to a bunch of other terms that make no sense right now because I haven't explained them. Okay, so basically there's a prodrome. Well, migraines are actually a thing that occurs in stages. Most people characterize migraines as being this thing that happens at once, like for 2 hours or whatnot. It actually occurs a lot longer. Usually there's a prodrome, which is the initial phase that occurs hours or even days before the headache. Though you can't really notice it that much. It's not like you're really carrying any pain or anything when that happens. The aura. Now, the aura is an interesting thing. It can be on or off, with or without. I happen to have migraine with aura. An aura is visual. It basically affects the senses, like visual senses. You end up, you don't really lose sight completely. It more or less affects your vision, like warps your vision or adds a static effect. It messes up your vision, other sensory details, and of course makes it nearly impossible to think, that little minor caveat. So the aura, you can actually be with or without. I happen to be with. Some people can go without the aura. The pain phase, known as the headache. The pain phase, also known as the headache phase. So if you probably already know this, it's what everyone characterizes as a migraine. It's the pain phase known as the headache phase. That lasts for ever long as it wants to, really. Actually, there's a real set time for it. Now the postdrome, it's the effects after the fact. effects experienced during the end of a migraine attack. Generally, it's actually not as bad as a migraine headache or the aura, really. I guess the symptoms more or less disappearing, I guess you'd call it that. Now, now the post-drome effect. Now that's actually kind of interesting. Although it's the end part of it and some of the earlier symptoms kind of roll back, it has this nice little hangover effect. Basically, you feel like you have a hangover. Deal with it.
What parts of the body does a migraine affect?
Now, brain-wise, the migraine originates in the occipital lobe and makes its way up towards the frontal lobe. It doesn't affect the things underneath like the cerebrum. It just goes from the occipital lobe and then spreads up to the front of it as it progresses, and it's commonly referred to as a brownout. It's interesting that you ask. Migraine actually affects the whole body, like pretty much everything. Since it's from the brain, and that's pretty much connected to everything. It actually has the potential to affect everything: the endocrine system, nervous system, a good amount of everything. Like when you have a migraine, it can give you a stomach ache. Of course, it gives you a headache when you have a migraine. Well, actually, technically speaking, could have an aura without the migraine, which technically speaking, a migraine without the headache. That kind of those little exceptions aren't really important. It can actually cause the whole body to hurt, give aches, like, sorry, this camera's kind of hard to work with. Muscle spasms, like in the arm, leg, stomach, just about everything. And I guess you call that more of a nervous thing, since it's not affecting the bones, it's not affecting the tendons. It's mainly affecting the nerves, but through the whole system. It also affects the endocrine system, like you could be hungry or stomach ache, those kind of things. So a majority of the nervous system, but through the whole body. It sucks.
Migraines begin when neurons in the brain start misfiring in response to internal or environmental triggers, releasing chemicals that cause blood vessels to swell and dilate. Pain receptors surrounding these vessels transmit pain signals to the higher centers of the brain and create the first sensation of pulsating headache pain.